men have certain roles in their lives and women have certain roles in their lives. And I think especially nowadays, like women are becoming stronger and more professional and have a lot of those traits that males have historically dominated. And now it's more balanced.
Are you afraid to say the R word in front of women?
Retard?
No, relationship.
Oh, okay. That'll be a good clip. This was the first girl that I had actually said, like, I love you. And I just remember the first time saying that, she didn't say I love you back, which was like kind of okay, it doesn't mean like it's not right, but
I'm sorry. Don't cancel me.
100%.
Walk your fucking dogs.
No,
you have to walk my dogs. All right. Well, Connor Rosell, I got that correct. Thank you for coming on the Table for One podcast.
We're here.
I'm supposed to say like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Please, like and subscribe. Please do that. Anyway, brother, what's going on?
Not much. It's getting cold as shit outside.
It is. It's cold, dude. We're happy to have you here, dude. And thank you for blessing us.
With
your presence.
Thank you so much.
Losing my podcast virginity. It's happening. It's finally happening.
It's a big day.
What do you think about the setup?
It's pretty legit. I was very impressed. I've seen this building multiple times going to Whiskey Row, on the way, just right there. And it's a pleasure and a treat to be here.
We appreciate you. Anyway, hey, dude, I did want to ask, why are you always the life of the party? Every time I'm around, I mean,
it's true. On. Yeah. What is up with that?
Is it drugs?
Half the time, probably. It's kind of one of those things. I've always just kind of, I thrive off of other people's joy and excitement. So it's just kind of walk in. Like, I don't look, when people are, it's that high school vibe. There's like girls on this side, guys on this side. It's like, I want to be the catalyst to end that as soon as I see that at a party. So I'm just, hey, find, mutual friends. It's kind of how I've always been.
You're always up.
Elevated.
You're always up. Is depression afraid of you?
At this point, I think a little bit.
Okay.
But, it depends on the weather, depends on the day.
Yeah. That's seasonal. It doesn't even affect you.
Exactly.
What's your age?
I'm 31. Just turned 31 last June. Yeah, we're getting up there. I know.
Old
but
as fuck.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Originally from where?
I'm from Stillwater, Minnesota.
Okay.
The old logging town there on the border of
You a Timberwolves
Wisconsin.
fan?
I am. Yeah, but it's tough. I don't love the NBA in general, but T-Wolves fans, it's kind of Vikings, definitely a big Vikings fan. Okay. Just had a heartbreaking loss against the Rams, which, we'll give it to them. They kind of have having, something to fight for. So, but it was just tough because it was a big season, a lot of excitement around there. We've always make it to the playoffs in these like miracle seasons and then just get shattered. So
nice.
Kind of build a thick skin, just get in the zone and
just get beat down.
Yeah, just get beat down enough to where set your expectations low enough.
Have you been beat down in Denver?
Pleasantly surprised. Yes, I actually was beat down outside of Rhino walking home.
You got beat up?
From Mile High Spirits one time.
Really?
By a group of young men. I was, a little inebriated and ended up cracking open my lip. Ended up getting my forehead split. Just got jumped by a bunch of random dudes. Now, probably a lot of people jump to conclusions, say I was talking shit, whatever. The last thing I remember, I was just kind of defending myself. These kids were yelling at me across the street. It was actually Lawrence, 2 blocks from my place. Live over by Shake Shack, kind of that Larimer area. You generally pretty safe, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. This was probably 2 years ago now. But it's lesson learned. Just kind of keep to yourself. I'm sure I chirped back, said something, and next thing I know, some kid came out of nowhere behind me and just drop kicked me.
Bummer.
Had I been there, I would have filmed the whole thing.
I was going to say, no backup, just social media.
You would have done shit.
I would have. World Star.
I've never seen this man in an altercation in my life.
And that's generally how I am, too.
That's
The crazy thing is it's very, it's unbecoming of me, and it was a wild kind of scenario. But it was also just like, maybe you don't like, chirp people after 12 a.m. when you're walking around in Denver.
That happens. How do you make money in this town? Occupation
wise, I think there's a lot of ways. OnlyFans is in my horizon at some point. I do the whole software, software. So
Tech
Denver,
boys, let's go.
Yep, tech's a big thing here. Started with a company called PlayerLink, which actually we started with the Denver Broncos. We were like a mobile content management app, video compression thing. So they would have our app on their iPads and download those and look at the playbooks, digital playbooks and stuff on the planes back home. So I've been working there for a couple of years, and then we got acquired like a year ago. So it's like every acquisition and merger, and it's kind of getting to that point where I'm like, it's not what it used to be. A lot of people have left, so I'm kind of trying to see what else is out there.
All right, there you go. Anybody that's listening that wants to employ Connor,
hey,
there you go.
Customer success, sales, all the above, I will do it.
Okay, and OnlyFans. He'll do OnlyFans. What's so you've been here for 4 or 5 years?
4.5.
Okay, 4.5 years.
September 2020.
Okay. Yep. And this is a dating podcast, so I guess we got to ask, how is, just an overall feel of the dating here? Because obviously you're single. That's why you're on this podcast.
Sure am.
Yeah. So
as single as you can get, I guess, at this point.
Okay. What's the feel so far? I mean, just overall aspect of it.
Overall aspect is it's a fast-paced city. It's young, active. I think the girls are very confident here. It does seem like kind of like a hot take. It seems like it's dating can be tough in Denver for some people, just because my kind of like random observation that I've seen over the past 4 years is a lot of girls will move here with a boyfriend or fiance or husband, like my, like brother and good friend that lives down in Parker. They move here in a serious relationship, and they are, they're obviously happy and they do well here. But then there's a lot of the girls that will move here with a boyfriend and live that kind of life, and then they'll break up with them and they'll be here and they're kind of like out there just looking for fun and just want to meet people. And then there's girls that, there's a lot of transplants here. So like a lot of girls I think will move because they just broke up with their boyfriend. It's that Austin, San Diego kind of vibe. Like they'll move here because they're single. They just want to have fun. They're not necessarily looking for anything super serious. There's also girls that will just move here because they're single and they just want to experience a new city and have fun and meet guys. So because also of the transplant kind of aspect, I think it can be tough because there's a lot of girls that are they just want to be here for like a year and a half or two. They don't really know necessarily what they want. They just kind of want to move here and be active, snowboard, ski, go to the mountains, just live their kind of post-college, mid to, upper 20s kind of lifestyle, and then move back to where they're from.
Okay.
So I think from a dating standpoint, me not necessarily knowing, not where I want to end up long-term, like there is also that, like, I mean, whether it's true or not, it feels like a lot of girls will eventually want to end up back with their family or back at their home state, home city, whatever.
Okay. Well, how do the women react to the energy that you bring to the table?
I think sometimes it's kind of like, fuckboy image, he's just like a crazy dude, but other times it clearly works and it's electric and it's fun. It livens the party. It gets conversations going. So I think that's what, I like to kind of play off of is not just that not serious, like stereotypical, like, what's up, I'm Brad? Okay. How you doing? Like, that kind of a vibe. So I think you just keep it light, keep it.
Yeah. I mean, if we took a sample of like the last 10 or 20 women you went out on a date with, and we asked them, what do you think about Connor? What's the consensus?
I think sometimes, to my detriment, it's almost like not serious enough because there is that lighthearted like energy, and it's just like wanting to have fun, like wanting to talk to like everybody at the party and everybody at the bar and whatever. But I think even, you know, actually dating and going out to dinner with girls and stuff like it. I've only been in a place the last like 6 to 8 months where I feel like I could actually give my time and attention to a girl for, you know, an extended period of time or like long term. So up at, you know, the past 4.5 years being here, I guess past 3 of being single, it's been like kind of that same thing I was talking about. Like generally I date a little bit younger. It's not even like personal preference. It's just kind of like I have the immaturity or the maturity of a 12-year-old. So, you know, it works out. I know it's like just Freudian slip. I think it just kind of works out that way. I generally am a little bit younger at heart and a little wild, whatever. So like I enjoy, you know, dating girls that are a little bit like upper 20s, you know, probably 2, 3,
higher teens,
4 years.
Like,
Not yet.
Hey, so have you ever like physically injured somebody from your dance moves?
Yes, I have actually. Precisely. My brother's wedding, older brother. So I have 2 brothers. One younger one that I lived with in the Rhino neighborhood here, for about 3 years. Older brother Adam, he's living that oldest sibling life. You know, living on Lake Minnetonka in Minnesota. Just had 2 twins, so I'm now a godfather. I just found out.
Congrats.
A couple weeks ago. Thank you. Yeah, Violet, she is.
Hey, that teen joke wasn't funny.
Honestly, now that I have like 2 girl nieces, I'm kind of like, I will say it's starting to shift a little bit, like perspective wise of like,
it's a joke.
Okay, yeah. But no, I mean it's true. He's living that like, you know, stayed in Minnesota and did the whole thing. And
so you injured from
so his wedding, I was obviously just doing my thing on the dance floor.
Because you have some wild dance moves. I've seen it.
Yeah, and my knees don't thank me for it, but like, you know, we're still limber. Like, you know, that drop down, like it just it's that wow factor, and girls are like, holy shit, he can drop it low. Like, okay, so he's coordinated. He's got to be like someone athletic. Like, I got this dude. He jumped on my shoulders, and we were jumping around and dancing, and he is a big dude. He was probably like 220, and I got top heavy and hammered, obviously, at that point, and fell back, and he like, I don't know what he did to his shoulder, his like clavicle or something, but he was, the next day, apparently he had to go to the hospital. Like, it was like a whole thing, and yeah, I mean, I apologize. He like reached out to me and apologized, like, "Hey, sorry." I was like, "No, man. Like, I should be apologizing to you. Your hospital bill is probably through the roof." So that was like a main.
Okay. Because I, you know, met you at Chris Lane. We went to Chris Lane, you know, right. And you were getting down, brother. You were getting down. It was a fun sight to see. Talking about sights, love at first sight. Do you believe in it? Has it ever happened to you?
I mean, it has not happened to me. I think I value personality and actual like, you know, emotional connection too much to where like, yeah, like you can fall in love with a girl that is like your ideological woman, in terms of looks. But I think that, I mean, if you want a successful relationship deep down, there's gotta be more than just looks, I think, at the end of the day. So I have personally never really just like seen a girl and just been like, oh my God, I'm in love. And then, you know, whatever. It usually, it has to be more organic, and I have to like talk to them a little bit.
Okay. But so it does sound like right now you are trying to find somebody to maybe settle down with. That is the goal?
I think at this point, yeah. I mean, I've been here 4.5 years, like I said, moved in, with a girl for like a year. Moved in with my little brother and a couple buddies for a few years in Rhino. And then I just bought my first place out by Sloan's Lake, west of Sloan's Lake. a little condo. And now I'm kind of feeling it's been that kind of up. I mean, as a guy, I don't know. Maybe it's like that Roman, Empire joke, whatever GIF meme that went around. It's just kind of like until
Did you
like,
just call it a GIF?
I don't fucking know.
I thought it was a GIF.
I'm 31. I'm showing my 31, dude.
I thought it was a GIF.
I personally, this is like my beef. I call it GIF.
Okay.
And I know it's GIF, but I am dug in, and I will never change. Yeah, so I think
controversial. That's all you want to be. Hey, anyway, what I just heard is we have a single guy that's a homeowner.
Congratulations, by the way. That's big time. That's big time. At 31 in Denver.
Somebody wife him up.
Yeah. So to back to your point about like, I do kind of feel like I'm in a place now where I'm like, okay, that was a big kind of, milestone in my life, like buy a place, actually feel like you're putting some equity in something, kind of making that next step in life. So, I've had my fun in Rhino and been living, for the most part, the single life. And now I'm kind of, at that point where.
Okay. It sounds like you got your life together a little bit. And I feel like that's the foundation, the base, and then you try to, reach out and try to find somebody, maybe marry them, have kids. I know I don't have my life together, but
hey, we hear about this Peter Pan syndrome of Denver. I feel like, this is what the ladies are looking for. He's got his stuff together. He's ready for that next step. Love to hear it.
Yeah. What are you finding out there? I mean, is it if you show that emotion going forward, you're saying, hey, I am ready for something. Do you find they're not looking for something, or is it just harder than you thought?
I think it does seem like, going back to that, like a lot of the girls here seem to just like, it's more normalized nowadays to be a little older. You don't need to, there's not necessarily these people in their mid-20s that are just getting wifed up right away. Like later 20s, like people are just trying to kind of, in a lot of situations, just trying to have fun and like find their own selves. And not to say like there's not some fantastic, like perfect girls here, because there are. I think for me, it's also been on me because I hadn't had my life figured out. I didn't really know, do I want to stay here? And then part of that is still true. Like, I don't know if I want to be here long term. But I do think that sometimes it's hard. You can't get too into your head about like that situation about like a girl wants to move back to her family's, city or state. Like if it's right, like it will work out. So like, I think that's part of my kind of, maturity, if you want to call it that, is just kind of starting to kind of acknowledge that and recognize that, if it's the right girl, like it's going to work out. Like, don't worry about like what you want to do in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Like, just live in the now and, live for it. So, I mean, a lot of the girls have been super fun, like super cute, a lot of like really just active, like everybody's fit here. Like there's not like a lot of like large people. Like,
what do you mean by large people?
I mean like people that, like I'm from Minnesota, you just, that sit around and you just kind of just exist and just sit in their house all day. Like even in, this weekend's going to be 5
degrees.
People like to get out. People get out and go do social things. Like girls here are, and I feel like incredibly attractive. I also think it's the whole Menver thing. Apparently that's changing. I don't really, I guess I have noticed it a little bit. Like I moved here during COVID. Things were weird. Like bars were kind of starting to reopen. And it was very Menver. Like, we had a big group of girlfriends with our guys, and it was really fun. A bunch of them moved to San Diego. Now I've been living that Menver life the last like year and a half, where it's just like it's always like 10 dudes, 12 dudes, 15 dudes, and like 3 or 4 girls. But that being said, I have noticed a little bit at the bars and just going out and seeing that balance. It's balancing out a little bit more. There's like more girls at the bar than at least more even. Do
you feel guys get a, just it's a little unfair for them here? Do you feel like they get ragged on a little bit more just because, obviously Peter Pan, it's all the guy's fault. And a lot of people that we've had on, they say that same thing, right? Do you think that it might not be so much that way? Or do you have a feeling either which way?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I do think it's I think a lot of the guys here are kind of that same way. It's that same, like, you're seeing this happen in other large cities like Austin and San Diego, and I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's not necessarily always on the guys. I do think, like I said, there's a balance that's kind of starting to happen with girls and guys, like both just not feeling the pressure that like you need to just, start getting wifed up right away at 25. Like, so that's a good thing and a bad thing in a lot of respects. I think in general, though, a lot of the guys here they're pretty fun dudes. Especially, toot my own horn, Midwest guys. I think there's a lot of Midwest guys out here, which, you get the California girls and the New York, East Coast girls, and like that kind of like that because we were a little bit more, hot take, humble, I would say, in that regard. Like, we dealt with 6 months of hellscape, fucking, 0-degree weather every year of our life growing up. And now we get out here and we're just a bunch of active, like, fun Midwest guys. I don't know. I mean, I think guys here it's tough because they're kind of in the same boat as the girls. Like,
okay. I see what you're getting at. I can read between the lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I did want to ask, does that mustache help you get dates?
I will say yes and no, but the sad thing is I get more compliments from guys here on mustaches than the girls.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me because, you get like I like your mustache.
It's only for the guys, essentially.
But like really it has made some friends, acquaintances, yeah. I should say.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, you just get those random like Boulder grads that are like, dude, I love your mustache. Girls, I guess, like it. It kind of seems past that, like the peak of the trend, which was like 2022, 2021, like kind of post-COVID.
Yeah, it was the Miles Teller.
Yeah, it was Miles Teller mustache, kind of like came in, swooped in, just like the mullet. I used to have a mullet. Maybe I'll get another one. We'll see.
You got a thick head of hair over here.
A lot of hair going on. So like,
you got some shit going on. Holy shit.
I could shave this. I've had it for the last couple of years. I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking for new jobs. So
yeah, I might just take a little bit and put it right up here and right up here.
Oh yeah, dude. Bosley's gonna start paying me. Yeah, I'm gonna start going.
That could be our sponsor, man. Hey, dude, what's the fastest you ever said "I love you" to a woman?
Ooh, I mean, I dated girls like for a few months here and there in college, post grad, in Minnesota, like 6-7 months, kind of like the longest. And then, I mean, honestly, I don't think I actually ever told a girl I loved her until my ex when I moved here.
Okay. Can we get into that a little bit?
Yeah, we can. I mean, we have to at some point.
Okay. So you said you moved in with a woman. This is your ex.
Yeah.
Let's hear the story from the start.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So COVID hits. I'm working for a trade show company out of Minnesota. Ended up making like a shit ton of layoffs, get laid off. And I'm like, what do I want to do with my life? I'm 27, bunch of buddies moving out to New York, San Diego, like, all the places. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to stay here. In Minnesota, if you are like a lot of the 90% of the people stay there, they just like get, married, have kids, whatever. And that's great. It's like my older brother. But I was like, let's go somewhere else. So start looking for places, meet this girl on Craigslist, ended up FaceTime with her, and from Midwest. And I was like, shit, okay, she's got an open bedroom. Like, let's just send it. I took the summer, volunteered in Minneapolis. So it was that crazy George Floyd shit and all that. So I was like, let's put my time to good use. Boom. Okay. Now it's August. Like, let's go. So I moved out here in literally just my car. Get to this new place in the Highlands, and it turns out I had gotten COVID, like literally driving out here. So feeling like shit. I get there, didn't really say anything for the first couple days. I get into the door, the new place, and car's full of shit, and this gorgeous girl just answers the door. I'm like, sweet, okay, well, this is interesting. So let's just play it out. I'm living life, new city, don't know anybody. a couple days go by. Sure enough, that was COVID. So like, you guys know how that was. It was like uncertainty, a lot of just like, what the hell is life? Like, what's going to happen? Like, are we going to, like, is this going to be like a zombie outbreak? Is everybody going to die? Yeah. No, it started to progress. That first weekend, I ended up giving her COVID. So she was super happy about that. And that kind of led it into like that first weekend of like, well, I just moved to Denver, just kind of watched some movies, kind of hung out. But like after the third night I was there, we were on the couch and she just like kind of fell asleep on my arm. And I was like...
She wanted more than just COVID.
I think she wanted a little bit more than COVID.
She wanted a couple diseases.
Yeah. Which, anywho. So one thing led to another. It took a couple months because I knew in the back of my mind, like, probably not like the best decision.
Yeah. You're living with this gal.
100%. Yeah. And kind of to the guy complex that, you don't have a job. Like, cause I was getting unemployment and investing, and I started a little actual side business, going to Goodwills and our thrifts, finding shoes, cleaning them up and reselling them online. So at least I was like providing some sort of value to the world. Mm-hmm. But still, you're just like, she's the breadwinner. She's working for a good company, making good money. But after a couple months, I don't know that I remember like the first time it happened, but I think we were like, she was a social outlet. I didn't know anybody here. So we just go out, get some drinks. We're getting a little sauced up. And then we go back, we watch a movie, and it just, you know how that goes. You just start feeling a little bit of chemistry. You're like, you're hot, I'm hot. Like, let's just kind of like, why not? And so we hooked up. And then it was kind of like that, like wake up moment where you're like the next morning, we slept in separate beds because we're still like hooked up on the couch. And it was just kind of like, whoa, like, okay. Well,
was it weird?
It wasn't as weird as I thought it would be. It was kind of fun because then it was just kind of like, I'm awkward if I make myself awkward, but if I don't, then, which I didn't, we just made breakfast and then it was boom, normal. Like, and then we just started, it was organic from there. So one thing led to another. We just ended up starting to kind of like hook up on the regular. And then after about like 5-6 months, I was like, well, like we should probably like, let's just date. At that point, because I didn't know.
Is that how you asked her? Hey, I think we should just date.
It's honestly kind of like, it was
this just makes too much sense. Like, I guess we should if we have to.
I like you. Like, you're Midwest. Like, you're chill. Like, you're hot. Like, she was very unbecoming too. She was that like passive aggressive Midwest, which I automatically gravitate towards. So, anywho, yeah, that was that. And then, but there was like some things that were already wrong in the relationship. Like, I wanted to move out to live with my little brother, and she had a huge issue with that, which I off the bat was like, we've only been dating like 4 or 5 months. I've been living here like 10. I lived with my older brother in Minnesota. I want to live with my little brother. It's kind of like one of my things. I want to live with both my brothers in my life at some point. And if we can't make it work with me living not with you, like, then there's issues. Well, sure enough, there was, eventually issues. But
what were the issues?
I don't know. I think
there was a safe space.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody sees this.
I think there was some definite insecurities about herself and about guys in general. She had a very like abusive dad, and he was alcoholic, that whole thing. Like, so. And she had trust issues. Her prior ex she had moved in with him, dated him for like 3 or 4 years, and then he was cheating on her. So like she was super emotionally scarred, which I didn't really know how to deal with because this was my first like real, like I said, going back to the I love you part, which, full circle. I think this was the first girl that I had actually said like, I love you. And I just remember the first time saying that, she didn't say I love you back, which was like kind of a like, okay, it doesn't mean like it's not right, but it took her like another like month or two to be able to actually see like.
You were just saying it like around the house.
No, yeah, Stephen Glansberg over here. I mean, it was like, no, it was once, that I said it, and she didn't really reciprocate, so I kind of didn't really say it either.
Maybe she didn't hear it.
A month later. I don't know. I feel like she heard it, but I could be wrong. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. It took a while, but there was a lot of like red flags. I was in a vulnerable spot. I didn't know what was happening. Like with COVID, I was unemployed, like just trying to figure my life out. And, but I could tell she was projecting a lot of those like insecurities on me and trust issues. And like once I moved in with Brennan, it was just like, I just called him out, but whatever, don't care.
Yeah. Everybody knows Brennan.
It was just like immediately I took her to a wedding in Minnesota, and I'm just blatantly like a mama's boy. Like me and my mom have been best friends forever. We used to like hate each other. Now we're, the best friends. And we went golfing an entire golf round, and she golfed with my mom. And after like 3 hours, then we were driving back like for that night. I was like, oh, so like, what'd you think of my mom? Blah, blah. She was like, oh, she was nice.
Ooh.
Like, that was it.
Yeah.
And every other girls I've dated or taken on dates, even like told them about it, they're like, oh my God. And any girl I've dated that's met her has been like, well, like they love her.
Mothers have a sixth sense.
Yes.
They know right away.
Yes. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, no. Like in my mind, even though I didn't admit it because I was so deep at that point, like I was like, this is never going to work out. So, but it went on for a couple more months. She was a big world traveler, went to Greece and Croatia and Bosnia, which was like really cool because I've only traveled domestically in Mexico and Canada, but like never really done that kind of a trip. So that was what I think made it even harder because she was, she convinced me to go over there and then meet her like grandpa who is in a village on like Zakynthos Island outside of Greece. Yeah. So like that.
What happened there?
So Greece was interesting. We went to Dubrovnik, did all the Game of Thrones shit, saw those like, the Great Stairs and, a bunch of stuff. And I think like, I've always generally been a pretty straight and narrow guy. Like I'm not like one of these dudes that's just like banging chicks in the elevator or like, banging moms on an airplane or like doing crazy shit. I don't know because I've heard stories. Yeah. Anyways.
But something happened then.
Yeah. But so we were in Croatia and split, and she was the kind of girl that like was just chill, very down for whatever. And we're like touring Cliff's Fortress, which is where Daenerys in Game of Thrones frees all the slaves. There's like this cool, like crazy, like it's an actual old fortress from like the early like late 1700s. And there's like a couple of families going on. There's also like an altar, which is kind of fucked. But we go up to the top, we climb on top of it, and I'm just like, let's just like cock out. Like this would be kind of cool. And she like was like, okay, fine. So yeah, we hook up on the top of Marine, which is the Game of Thrones, which is pretty cool. Like definitely one of the cooler things I think I've done.
That's how I like a woman to react when I ask to hook up. Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. And that's why I was like, I feel like I'm kind of like pressing this a little bit, but also like we're on the top of fucking Marine.
Yeah. That's the wildest place you've ever?
I think that's probably the wildest place I've ever. Because I've never.
Was Daenerys there?
Daenerys was not. I think I saw Theon down in Split, Croatia.
Okay.
Very cool city if you haven't been. Crazy nightlife. We saw like the world's largest sailing boat, which was owned by a Russian oligarch.
Okay.
Who's now in jail.
Yeah, they got him. Yeah, I think they rounded up a bunch of those.
But it was crazy going for like little runs on like the boardwalk and Split, Croatia. Highly recommend.
Good story. I like that. That was good.
That's a great story. Yeah, it's crazy.
So that was the toughest part. I think I did end it.
Okay.
I think it's kind of taboo, but nowadays it's like a lot of the guys are cheating on the girl or not treating them well, which is true in a lot of cases. But I know personally a lot of friends and acquaintances that guys that have been on the opposite end. Like there's two.
You ghosted her when you were still living with her? You're just like,
Well, okay, back to the whole thing about my mom and her not like accepting that. Like the first time she ever met my little brother, didn't even she kind of said hi and that was it.
Yeah, it's
like right away. My family is very like core
intuitive
to my values. Is my mom had 9 brothers and sisters, so like I have like 28 cousins running around the fucking U.S. like, and we go down to Thanksgiving every year. Like, hell of a time down in Arkansas. I will tell you, like Little Rock, Arkansas is a wild place, but Northwest Arkansas it's a good time. Very family oriented. So like when she didn't even really acknowledge my brother.
Family's a big thing for you. I feel like
it's a big thing.
You know, you can tell right away if they don't make an effort. It's probably not going to work.
Sad. Sometimes I don't wish it was like that, but like if my family doesn't like them, then like what's the point? And I was fighting that feeling because like I could already tell she didn't gel with like him and some of my other friends. And
it's a bummer if you said you loved them and then it. Right. You know, it's a big thing.
Right.
I mean, the pressure's on. You meet the family and it doesn't work out or she's not trying to make an effort with your family or friends. Like it's kind of doomed.
100%.
100%. Hey, on a lighter note, do you want to do a segment brought to you by our sponsor?
Obviously.
Okay, great. All right. Well, we're just going to roll the tape for the sponsor real quick.
Which is?
Well, it's going to roll.
White Claw.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
This episode is brought to you by...
you going to finish that?
Reach around.
Nobody.
You.
Anyway, hey, so this segment is called Would You Rather. It's an old Would You Rather, only it's a little bit dating, you know, so...
I'm here for it.
We're gonna bro out a little bit, you know. We got a serious one last week that's gonna be this week. But anyway, so we're just gonna bro out a little bit. Last week's was pretty serious. It was good. It was insightful. But now we're going.
Sure.
Yeah, depending on. We're good. Where are you going? You got to take a piss.
Oh,
this guy's got to take a piss.
Big time.
Okay. Would you rather? Hey, would you rather date somebody that never texts back or somebody who constantly double, triple texts right away?
Ooh, I mean, that's an obvious never text back. Maybe it's like
really?
Fucked up, like weird, like.
Don't like you feel like, she's not into me then? Or,
sure. Yeah. But that's how my ex was that I was just explaining to. Like,
that's kind of a bummer. No?
It was like and maybe that's like something that I gotta like search.
Yeah. I like a double text sometimes, like just like, and then if you don't text,
it's almost
like she
too much. Like it, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's a.
But there's something to be said about a girl that is doing her own thing and kind of laser beam in life and is, whether it be work or working out or whatever it may be, that like isn't on her phone constantly, especially nowadays.
Okay. Would you rather go on a blind date every week or be in a long distance relationship for a year?
Ooh. That is a
blind date. You don't get to see him.
Like, no, like there's no, it's just.
You got to put effort in.
Could be 1, could be 10.
It could be 1, it could be 10. Yeah.
Shit.
Every week.
What's the stipulation with this long distance thing?
It's a long distance. You don't get to see him. That's a lot of effort too.
For a whole year?
A whole year. For a year, just 1 year.
And you're also going on blind dates every week for a year.
Yeah, for a year.
And you don't get to like capitalize on any of those.
You could capitalize, but like either you plan to go on a blind date every week for a year, or you have a long distance relationship just for a year. Either or.
I mean, just from how my life has been so far, I think I just got to go to the blind date. Because, yeah. Like, I mean, your odds. It's just a game.
What are you going to FaceTime?
Game of chances. Yeah. Like, what are you going to fucking Zoom?
Hey, this isn't even in our segment, but I forgot to ask this. I got you right quick. Hey, you ever been caught masturbating as an adolescent?
I'm trying to think. I honestly don't think so. I think I was pretty smart about it. Like, grew up in a pretty Lutheran, like, household. Like, I'm also just not, like, a dipshit. Like, just, like, don't be a fucking horny little shitbag. Like, and be jerking off, like, around times when your family's, like, around.
That's true.
Like, I think it's
like
just
Christmas.
Like,
you can't be jerking off at
Christmas. I mean, like,
one time, so, like, all of our friends went into Isaac's room in middle school one time, and he had, like, a thing of tissues and lotion next to us. And I don't think he was beating it at that time, but like we were like, Jesus, man, what are you doing over here? You know,
you gotta stay moisterized.
He's got a runny nose and dry skin.
Next to the bed is just a guarantee.
And then like we were all like, what's going on? He didn't get it. He was like, nah, what do you mean?
I didn't see a problem with it, which I guess now
the lotion and the tissues right there, like right by the bed. I feel like my mom would have been like, what the fuck are you doing?
What you doing?
Like to be moisturized.
I mean, I don't know. That's tough. Yeah. I think I was pretty good about it. I mean, now the first time do you remember the first time you actually like came a little bit? Yeah. Like that first time? That's a scary time. Because
like, what is this?
That was like, what is this? Like, then I was freaked out because my house we grew up in, my parents' bedroom was like on the same upper floor.
I used to really
we share the same bathroom.
Yeah, I used to like video games, and then you like something else, like real quick.
Yeah. It's like I'm into Halo, fucking playing Infection, and then all of a sudden, you take one look on your Nokia phone, and you just, I'm aging myself, obviously, and you see like, I did have a buddy. His dad caught him on bigtitsroundasses.com.
That's a look it up.
Grade.
Check
Seventh grade. They
I'll have to check that out.
This junior high thought it was a good idea to give a bunch of 7th graders their own laptops.
Yeah, that's a
So I would go over to his house, and I was smart because I was nervous. My family was kind of religious. Like, I would never do that. I couldn't because Nokias don't have web or Razors or any of the flip phones.
None of them.
So I'd go over to his house, and we looked up Carmen Electra boobs.
My buddy printed them off. Like, my buddy used his printer on it, and then he left it in there, and then he was like typing up boobs and like vaginas and shit, like just on Google Images. Then he printed it, and he got caught. Because why wouldn't you? You know?
Why wouldn't you? I mean, at that point, it's whatever.
The family printer,
simpler times.
We got no more loose leaf over here. Where the fuck are all? What are you printing out over here?
Where's my cardstock?
All of our ink's gone. What the fuck? Anyway, all right, dude, I got another one for you. Would you rather be celibate till you're 60 or have an incurable STI?
I guess it depends on what the STI is. Probably.
It's a bad one.
It's a bad one.
Well, it's not a good one.
You're going to die or what?
Good,
no, are any of them good?
Like a really bad one. I mean, I think, aren't there like nowadays like enough like antibiotics and like shit that you can take for things? It's incurable, yeah.
Or be celibate till you're 60. So you've already had your fun, but from now
are we
you're
getting
60,
serious here? Because like, I think like long-term happiness and like knowing like, I'm gonna have a successful marriage. Also, 60 is really old. If it was like a little younger, maybe I would.
50.
Know, okay, 50. See if
that's
it's like
just 20 years of being celibate for you.
Yeah, goddamn. I think still like it would suck, but like everything in life, like you would get used to it and you'd be fine. I think to know that you could have your 50 through the rest of your life, super happy with somebody, I think like I would probably do that. Probably just go celebrate.
Celibate, 20 years.
Yeah. Because you can do like other stuff without like,
I guess you could.
You can't, right? I mean, celibate's just like
I didn't put much thought in that question. Chat GPT.
That is a loaded question. Yeah. Wow.
What are you doing over there?
What you doing?
Because then you'd have to explain to everyone.
I mean,
hey, I got this shit.
Well,
that's like
okay. The only factor is I would want kids. So.
Oh shit!
That would be the only factor. If kids,
you just jerk off in a jar and fucking
can't cure herpes, but like.
Okay.
So you're saying like you could still like
you just gotta
go into a jar and be like, yo, IVF, like.
Can you not have a kid with herpes?
No, you can't.
I don't know. You just said celibate or
or an incurable STI.
Or incurable STI, which.
Why did they start saying STI and not STD?
Yeah, infection versus disease.
I
don't like it. I don't like it. Keep it what it was.
The world will never know.
Yeah. You ever have one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty positive I haven't.
If you don't go to the doctor, then you never get sick, right?
Isn't that the logic that we all strive
That's
to
guy
have?
logic. That's Denver logic, apparently. I mean, I don't think so, but Hey, would you rather be ghosted or be the one ghosting?
Ooh. I mean, being on the brunt of both ends, like, I mean, God, it depends. I mean, obviously you'd rather ghost somebody unless it's like deep down, like a girl that you kind of like, this just happened basically like 2 months ago. This like super cool, attractive Colorado native, like in the medical industry, like really cool. Like I thought it was going really well. And, went over, hung out with her a couple times and purposefully did not like actually bang or do anything crazy. Which I think now that I'm getting older, I'm aging myself, but I think it's kind of like the way to go because you actually establish a connection before you just like, we're not in our 20s anymore. Like, don't just like bang a chick and then expect.
It never works.
Because there's always that connection that's going to happen.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like it never
once
works.
you have sex with a girl,
Yeah.
it's never going to be the same.
Like, does anybody have a one night stand and then they're like, this is now my wife? I mean, does that happen? Or is it like, oh, we got to know each other first?
It happens, but is it for the right reasons? Like, yeah, it happens to that guy. He's like, oh, I love this girl, or holy shit, that was great sex. But like, does it, like, is it for the right, like, did they actually develop like a really, like,
I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. So
I'm not like a dating psychologist either, clearly. But yeah, I think that's
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm giving him the 45-minute call.
Yeah.
This is going fast. Hey, okay. Would you rather accidentally sext your boss or your mom?
Oh, I mean, at this point, it depends what boss, obviously, but at this point in my life, I think, I mean, it's got to be my boss because, like, like I said, I'm a mama's boy, dude. Like, that would talk about ruining lives. That would fuck me up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could ever. I think I would be in a dark place if I did that. So, boss will take it. I'll find a new job.
Just on all fours,
Yeah.
Okay.
Just what's up?
Sorry, Mom.
Damn it! I meant to say
It's a Melissa, not Mom. Christmas is next week. You gotta see.
Yep, there it is.
Okay, well, so we got into a little bit of the past relationships. I mean, so do you have another like worst date that you've ever been on, or?
Oh yeah, I have a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Fuck yeah.
Here we go.
Minnesota. So I like go out. I graduated from Iowa State. Sick Ames. Moved down to Fort Worth, Texas. Great time. Highly recommend if you've never been. Very fun, clean town. Moved back to Minnesota and moved into a house with my older brother and like a couple of his buddies in Richfield, Minnesota, just like 15 minutes south of Minneapolis. I go on this date with this girl, Stella's Oyster Fish Cafe. Shout out. I think it closed. COVID.
Stella's Oyster Fish Cafe.
Fucked that cafe.
Okay.
Which sucks because it was a nice little like.
Yeah. That's the most passionate you got on this fucking podcast.
Yeah. Stella's, dude, uptown Minneapolis used to be the tits. Anyways, go out and like have some dinner with her, and then we meet up with some of my friends, and we're partying there because they had like an upstairs little like dance room. Have a bunch of fun that night. End up Ubering back home, and she stayed the night, obviously. And
obviously.
So me and her both hooked up, passed out, and woke up the next morning, and my brother's friend, who's like a 240-pound like football player, like he was like, dude, the craziest shit happened last night. And I was like, what? This girl is like staying with me. He wakes up at like 3:30 or 4 a.m. in the morning to some dad like pounding on our door. Well, this girl that I had been like, I'd been talking to her for a little bit. We just went out to dinner that night, hooked up that night. And she had no idea that her dad, well, I don't know if she knew. Her dad had her location. He lived like 20, 30 minutes west of the cities and ends up like tracking her to our house and is pounding on our door at like 4 a.m. being like, where's my daughter? Like, I know my daughter's here. Oh. Like, luckily, my roommate at the time, brother's buddy, was so big and intimidating that he kind of like went up to the door and was just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, who are you? Like, why are you here? He was like, I have my daughter's location. Like, she's definitely here. He's like, there's nobody here. He had no idea. So luckily, he didn't know that she was in my bedroom. And yeah, so apparently he like intimidated the guy enough to be like, get off my property, like leave, went home. And then I woke up that next morning to, the girl being like, holy shit.
I said I knew where this was going. I did not know where
I was going to say, I was like, how do you know where this is going?
I thought
I was like,
she went over to your buddy's.
Find My Friends era it's a different game, especially with girls that have good relationships with their dad.
Okay, yeah. That's a good dad, probably.
I mean, I guess I would.
That needed to bring a gun or something.
Yeah, Jesus, it could have been way worse, to be honest. Yeah.
I dated a girl who her dad tracked her. Which, by the way, I love her dad. Like, honestly, one of the greatest guys I've ever met.
Sign of a
but
good girl.
it would notify her anytime he tracked her. This was like way back in college, and there's a couple times we'd be hanging out and he would like drive past and she'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you checking on me? And
just checking in.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a fine line between like a protective good dad and like what the fuck you doing? Like she's 25.
We were young though, which I totally respect that. Like I
sure.
Still love that guy to this day. Great dude.
Yeah, I mean, in that point, I think she was probably 24, 25. I was like 26.
That's pretty old for your dad coming around.
That's pretty old.
She must have lived at the house.
Yeah, I don't remember.
She had to live.
Yeah, I think she did. She definitely did.
At her own place.
She definitely lived out. Okay. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's like, dinner is in the oven. It's 12 hours late. Where the fuck are you? You're not at that Connor guy's house, are you again?
What the fuck is that? What is even that?
Okay, so that's the worst thing.
I think that was probably the worst date for sure. Other than that, like I said, I'm pretty vanilla from that standpoint.
Are you afraid to say the R word in front of women?
Retard?
No, relationship.
Oh, okay. That'll be a good clip.
I love the way you said it, dude. Retard?
No. I mean, like...
What the fuck would you say that shit?
Well, because A, it's going to get likes. And
canceled.
I have autism myself. So, like, I don't think it really matters at this point.
It's fair game.
That was a silly ass.
That was just a setup.
That's not a real...
That was awesome.
Specify, because there's so many words that are taboo nowadays that, like, you can't specify.
Brother, you got any hot takes?
Ooh.
Some hot
You fell for it? I mean...
I love the way you said it. Retard.
But you gotta say it with that, like, inflection, because then it's, like, it's not as offensive. Relationship. I don't know.
No way, hot takes.
Oh, hot takes. So back to hot takes.
Or any hot takes.
Not like that big of a fan of like the whole like girls like having 3 dogs thing. Like, oh my God, I have like 2 or even 1 dog. Like
1 dog's a lot.
Why don't I don't know. I feel like they're making up for something like emotionally that they need this companion to cope with things. That might be a hot take, like I said. But also, like, I'd rather, like, get a dog with a girl someday. Like, you know, like, if you already have 2 or 3 dogs, like, okay, well, there it goes for me. Like, I'm just gonna join your little family of puppies over here.
Take care of the dog. It's, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of on that road. I decided today I decided it. I don't like other people's dogs. No. You know, like I do sometimes. I do when I don't have to like take care of them. Like, hey, buddy, you know, pet them. I can see they're cute dogs, you know, and they behave well. I like those dogs. The ones that don't behave very well, they just didn't get trained well, and then it's like Yeah,
maybe just don't get like a foster dog from Roswell, New Mexico. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
just like maybe like
these dogs from the shelter too. Like they're a handful.
Well, just realize that you can get dogs are wild animals. So like I live with one now, and it's just like also I'm kind of OCD. So like waking up all the time and there's like fucking stains on the carpet and there's shedding hair, and I'm vacuuming.
Yes, me too. You got to walk the dog. I mean, depending on the dog, once or twice a day. You have
especially active dogs.
Sometimes and this might get me in trouble. Sometimes people don't walk their dogs. Sometimes, dude, especially like women that have dogs. You know, I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. 100%. Walk your fucking dogs. No, you have to walk the dogs. Yeah.
I agree. Also, like, sue me for not having a dog. Like in Denver, it seems like it's almost like it's like a Hinge like requirement. It's like, oh, I don't have a dog. Like, oh, that makes me a non-responsible like older male. It's like, no, I don't want to have that, responsibility right now. But like, that doesn't mean that I don't have my shit together,
Obviously, me saying walk your dogs isn't going to get me canceled, but I'm just saying it's going to garner some hate. It's not really. I don't really give a fuck. But you walk your dogs, all right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You're athletic fucks. Walk your dogs.
Yeah.
Canceled.
Yeah. All right, brother. So what are you looking for now?
Honestly, like how detailed we get?
Complexion,
like 5'9", like dark skin, brunette.
Okay, wow.
I don't know why it's the case.
It's very specific.
I thought that I was into the blondes.
What's your take on blonde?
Like a lot of guys are. I think, natural or non-natural? Let's go natural. I think they're honestly like probably a safer option because their hair is actually blonde, and
you're not judging by their looks right now.
I'm not judging by their looks. I think that it's more of like why are you going blonde? Like ask yourself like why are you blonde? Is it because you want to be noticed quicker? Probably. Like I would imagine that that's generally the case because in a crowd you're gonna notice a blonde girl first. But I think there's something like sensual and like cool about like a darker haired girl that knows she's really beautiful and like doesn't need to flaunt it per se. But yeah, I think I think for what I'm looking for, I mean, definitely not like super short, but I'm also not like a douche in that sense. Like height is not going to be a factor unless you're like above like 6 feet. Then like I'm like 6'2", 6 whatever. I think anything over 6 feet, like I need to be able to like have fun and like be able to like at least like feel like I'm somewhat of a male in the relationship,
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. No,
it does. Totally.
Yeah. It's preference, So it's value-wise. We just talked about looks, value-wise.
I think value-wise, like family, obviously. Big time. Big time. Not even that you need to have like a perfect relationship with your parents because like I think part of me realizes that there's some girls that, hey, they might not have a great relationship with their dad, but like then let me be the reason why like I show you that there are strong males in the world that don't necessarily like whatever, for whatever reason you have of not having a good relationship with your dad. I only say that because my ex had a big issue with it. And so like, it's just one of those things where I don't know. I think it comes down to the confidence in yourself and the ability to acknowledge that men have certain roles in their lives and women have certain roles in their lives. And I think especially nowadays, like women are becoming stronger and more professional and have a lot of those traits that males have traditionally, historically dominated. And now it's more balanced. And I think it's fun. Like my older brother is a perfect example of like, she makes more than him and they are so happy because they just respect each other mutually. And now they're like super happily married with twins. And like, that has been an example to me of like, because sometimes naturally inherently guys have like a a tendency to shy away from like, oh my God, this girl makes like more money than me, or she like whatever. But I think in today's day and age, it doesn't matter. Like split the bill, like whatever. If she wants to split the bill on a first date, which has happened a couple times.
You like that?
I get a little like chivalry isn't dead, I don't think, in my opinion. But if she's insistent on it and there's a good connection, like who cares? Like don't let your machismo like pull back from being like, oh, well, no, I'm not the alpha anymore. Like there's some of the most successful relationships come from that equal balance. So just like be open to like women having a little bit more gusto in the convo and like that whole thing, I guess. Maybe. I guess. I don't know.
Isaac, did you have any joke? I mean, any questions?
No, I was going to add on to that. For time's sake, I don't, but I want to add on to that. Like on a date, I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to pay for it, but I always feel like it goes a long way if they offer, and I'm always going to turn them down.
Exactly.
But if they offer, I feel like that's such a, kind gesture.
100%. And I think that's where it shifted in the last like 5 to even 10 years. Like, it used to be like fuck that, like I'm the male, I'm paying. It's like now it's like, wait, this shows that she has some like confidence in herself, in her, and monetary income and all that stuff. Yeah. So I think it's kind of cool, kind of flattering.
Yeah, and I mean, not even necessarily on the first date. Like at the first date, I'm traditional. I think the guy should pay, but like on the next few dates, if they offer, I think that's a kind gesture, and I'm still gonna turn them down. But I think
Isaac hasn't paid for a date since.
No, I have been fucking wheeling this. I have not paid for a date basically in a long time.
A bunch of savings.
Turns out this guy's made millions now paying for dates in the last 3 years.
It's not true.
What are you doing? I want in.
Yeah.
All right. Hey.
All right. Hey,
we're at the hour mark.
Hey, we're at the hour mark. So we're going to go last question. We ask everybody this. Why are you a catch, Connor?
Why am I a catch? God, I feel like I'm in an interview, which is a good thing because I'm prepping for finding a new job right now anyways.
What if your business sees this that you're with now?
Oh, I don't give a shit about that.
Fire him.
No. Like I'm fortunate enough to have the confidence to where cool, if I got fired, we'll figure it out. But that being said, I also have a mortgage now, and so I gotta keep.
We can cut it. We can cut it if you need. Yeah. But why are you a catch?
I think at this point in my life, I own property. That's the thing. Okay. You need to buy a place, whether or not I keep it forever, rent it out, sell it, whatever. It doesn't matter. Start putting money into something. Start building some equity around you as a person. And I think the catch comes from just living life. I have so many great examples and figures in my life that keep me motivated and excited. What's next week? What's next weekend? Let's go do this trip. Let's go to this wedding. I've been in, I think, 12 weddings the last 3 or 4 years. Being with those people and them giving me compliments about hey, the energy and the excitement.
Energy, you are always the life of the party. I guess personality trait wise, if a gal goes on a date with you and she's got something good to say, what is it about you that? And then I'm digging in just a tiny bit because I know there's a lot of good personality traits from you.
Absolutely.
I think it's a gusto for life.
Okay.
It's just that we don't know what's going to happen, especially nowadays. AI is about to take over, start fucking, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Live today and just kind of enjoy what you're doing. Find your own passions and hobbies and interests, and that's what I think. I think I bring. Let's do something new. Let's go out to the mountains. Let's go experience something new. Let's fly somewhere. Let's go do, something different that you don't do every single day. Let's make arts and crafts. Let's learn a new skill together. let's like not just sit around and watch Netflix all day.
There you go. It's a good one.
It's beautiful.
We love
Beautiful.
it. We love it. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
This has
is
been a joy
amazing.
and a pleasure.
I appreciate it, boys.
Such a pleasure.
Such a blessing. Appreciate you, Connor. Thank you so much.
Let's go.
Tune back in next week. But
We'll be back.
actually, if you want to reach out to Mr. Connor Rosell over here.
It's like a Z. It's a Rosell.
Yeah.
CJ
Yes.
Rosell.
His Instagram is in the video right here.
Right here. Right here it is. And do you want to
Swipe
shout
up.
do you
Swipe up.
want to
Swipe
shout out anything?
Swipe up, dude.
Chat, should they reach out to him, chat?
Just say hi.
Okay.
Just say hi. Yeah.
Don't
He's
be
a
needy.
single
Anything else you wanna
guy,
shout out?
Shout
homeowner.
out to Joe and
Thanks.
Isaac. Like
There you go.
these boys are doing it. It's the
Okay.
podcast realm. We're getting there.
We're figuring it
We're
out.
doing our best.
Yeah,
We're getting there.
We're doing whatever.
Hey, the greatest way you guys can help us is subscribing on YouTube,
Swipe up.
please.
Yeah, you too. We're trying to
Push the
eventually get out of
YouTube.
the red.
Please help us.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Connor. Let's go.